Matthias, there are so many automation technologies out there.
Yeah.
But which ones do really have the potential to remake intralogistics?
Yeah, that's a great question. And we try to collect the ones that we see as top potentials to discuss and present them in today's episode.
Automation Awakenings, your weekly dose of best practices for logistics automation.
Hello and welcome everyone to our next episode. Today on automation technologies or top automation technologies for interlogistics. I'm very happy to have Oliver Zuchowski with me in our little office studio. Welcome, Olli, and hope you're excited for this episode.
And also welcome to you, Matthias Pluczynski, to the show.
Thanks, Olli. So with our time being limited, let's cut straight to the topic. And I would start with my favorite one in this list, which is the AGV AMR technology.
Oh, that's a hot topic, Matthias.
Yeah, it is hot. It is also hyped to a certain extent, but it basically covers or describes all types of mobile transportation robots that we see out in plants, facilities, and warehouses that transport goods from A to B, basically.
And if you never heard about these abbreviations, maybe you can tell our listeners more about AGV and AMR. What does it stand for?
Yeah, so AGV describes an automated guided vehicle, and the AMR stands for autonomous mobile robot. It's a really, really wide field, and it's going to be discussed a lot in our podcast. So I'm going to keep more explanations for later, but definitely stay tuned to get more information on these two different mobile robot technologies.
Yeah, for sure. This will be the content of several episodes in our podcast. So I think for now we can leave this category. At least you heard it. And as I said, it's a hot topic discussed everywhere in the business.
Exactly. Maybe before we jump on, what is the biggest advantages of this technology, Olli?
Yeah, I think the cool thing about these devices is that they can navigate automated or in an autonomous way through your warehouse or production area. And like this, instead of having humans transporting your goods, these little machines are doing that.
Yeah, exactly. It's very well summarized. And I bring another benefit, which is resilience.
True.
So with mobile robots, you are able to do the transportation job, even if you run into, for example, the shortage of workforce, which we currently see a lot here in Germany with forklift drivers, for example, or if there is another pandemic, right?
Yeah, and I think that's also a worldwide topic, and I would be also interested what our listeners think here for this and all other categories where you see the benefits, and it would be interesting to hear about that.
Totally agree. So stay tuned and post your experiences and your thoughts on our LinkedIn profile.
Cool. All right, then let's have a look on the second technology we would like to discuss today. And these are collaborative robots, so-called cobots. Why are they collaborative, Matthias?
Yeah, because you can operate them together with humans on the same shop floor without having them in a cage. So they have certain safety features. And that's why we see cobots being used, for example, for pick and place scenarios, for stacking and palletizing, and also for sorting.
Yeah, that's pretty cool because then you don't have to do this work, highly manual work, which is exhausting. And as they are working alongside humans, it's like, your body at work doing the difficult stuff, right? The heavy stuff.
Totally, yeah. Totally. They are Quite often they're even faster than humans. So they're like a Superman body, basically.
Yeah.
So again, big efficiency gain for logistics or intralogistics operations. And also the quality is better. So humans, they love repetitive work, right? And it's pretty much the opposite with humans.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Because humans will start doing mistakes after, 3-4 hours of doing the same repetitive task, which is not true for a robot. And that's why we see them a lot in these use cases that I mentioned earlier.
Yeah, what is also special about them, these cobots can be equipped with vision systems, for example, and this allows them to take parts, to sort them based on some predefined criteria. So especially in some logistics centers, you can use them to sort your goods. So you have like an artificial eye, more or less.
Yeah, totally agree. What I just recently saw online is a robot called Stretch by Boston Dynamics. So we all know them for these little robot dogs, or I don't know.
Yeah, true.
Animals.
Yeah. They're pretty cool.
Yeah, totally. And they also now have this new cobot robot, let's call it robot, in place, which is able to pick packages from a conveyor belt and pack them into a overseas container, or the other way around, which I think is quite nice. We know for a fact from one of our consulting projects that this technology is not yet totally mature and not yet ready to be rolled out to a lot of use cases, but it's definitely super interesting. And yeah, loading, unloading is a very big topic for automation that we're going to see in the next years.
Yeah, I mean, the various packages you have in such a container makes it really challenging for this use case. But in the future, this will be improved for sure.
Yeah, because there's so much efficiency to be gained there, and also and also so much more employee safety with the help of this robot. So, I mean, packing and unpacking is so prone to just getting injured as an employee. And that's why you want a robot to do this in the future. Right. So we already talked a bit about optical systems, and that's why I jump in with my third technology that I think is going to be groundbreaking in many areas, and that's optical recognition in general. So I define it as all kinds of sensors, computer vision, and artificial intelligence that interacts in a device or a solution that scans items, and based on what it sees or recognizes, derives decisions for this particular item.
So would you count also drones inside this category?
Yeah, totally. So drones are basically one of the top technologies that I would put into this category, with the example of automated stock taking, for example, right? So what they would do, they would fly the racks up and down, and they would scan with optical system on how the goods look like. They would count the boxes or the pallets which stand in the racks, and would do automatic stock taking, as I said.
Yeah, I've seen that they are using either cameras or sensors, like as you said, they can take pictures, but they can also use RFID tags, for example, if they have a RFID antenna equipped with them, and like that they fly around and do your stock taking. Sounds pretty cool, but I think there is a little problem still, right?
Yeah. So also from our experience, we still have some legal topics with automated stock taking, at least here in Germany, because most of the auditors that we use here, so the big four, which you probably know, they do not accept this method as a official and legal legally approved method to do stock taking. So there is still kind of a gap here, since technology is already able to provide this information, but from a legal point of view, you need a human to count. I don't know why, and I hope it's going to be changed quite soon. But
authorities,
yeah, we are running into this problem with drones. But let's not forget, drones is just one of these optical recognition-based technologies, and we also, for example, have quality checks. Okay, all kinds of quality checks or gates or cameras, which are taking pictures of certain items passing them, and then using machine learning or AI are identifying the ones that need to be checked or removed. And that's also to be seen a lot already now in the field. And another optical recognition technology is basically sortation in all different kinds. So maybe a bit of an overlap with the cobot topic again here, but there is also more, or let's say less cobot-y technologies that can do sorting, which still rely heavily on optical recognition.
All right. Any further in our category optical recognition?
No, at least that's I would say the most common ones that I have seen, and I think which might be the ones to break the ground here for optical recognition.
All right, then let's move on with a very classic automation technology, which is undergoing also a transformation, I would say. The word is pretty old. Automated storage and retrieval systems.
Yeah.
ASRS, Matthias.
Yeah. Totally bulky term, I would say.
It's true.
What I like better as a word is goods to person technologies, right? So basically, this could be either shuttle systems that operate in 3 dimensions, and where you store and retrieve items without needing an aisle.
Yeah, and they are so fast. It's incredible.
Without needing an aisle, and also without human intervention, of course.
Yeah.
Some very well-known examples are, for example, AutoStore or the shuttle by a company called Körber, which we just recently saw in action, which was very impressive. And which definitely boosts efficiency a lot, because you don't need to do classic picking. You just make the goods come to you in a breathtaking speed.
Absolutely. So you reduce human work, or even they're working completely without any human intervention. And what is so cool about them, I mean, nobody has space in the warehouse.
Yeah.
And this makes it possible to store stuff in a high density, and you use all your vertical room.
Yeah. Definitely, yes. It's also a cost factor, right? Especially now with the rise of e-commerce, warehouse locations are rare. They are more expensive, especially in metropolitan areas. So you want to go for that solution and really maximize the usage of your storage location. But then I have another automated storage and retrieval system, actually.
Okay.
And it's basically also going into the AGV AMR area. So what we see is also basically racks being transported by little AGVs, so AMRs, which sit below the rack, and which make this rack go to a picking station or location where still a human is picking out of the rack, right? So that's something that you might have seen on YouTube with Amazon or Alibaba.
Ah, yeah, that's pretty famous, yeah.
It's quite famous, and I would say it's also quite stable and mature already as a solution when you can afford to basically have a people or human less warehouse. So no humans should be moving around there, because those robots are, just following QR codes mostly on the floor, and you don't want people to be in there. But if you can afford to do so and build your warehouse this way, they can also be a very mighty technology to improve your picking and goods to person scenario.
Yeah, exactly. Because this person don't have to move. Yeah, they're standing there
Exactly.
and the goods are coming.
Yeah. Right. Anything else on this particular technology?
I think we can go on with our next category.
Also, widely spoken, the wearables category. So, all kind of devices that you wear as a human and which basically support you in your task that you are about to do in intralogistics.
Yeah, so two types come into my mind here. I mean, either you have wrist-mounted devices, or you have something called smart glasses.
Exactly.
What do you think about the smart glasses, Matthias?
Yeah, you know what I think about them. So, as a fact, I had the chance to talk to people who tried them in warehouse operations, and the feedback was not at all good. So the operators were complaining about the devices or the smart glasses being too heavy, too uncomfortable to wear the whole day. There's been complaints about headaches because obviously you get information displayed into your field of view the whole time. And also, they were not really suited for people with regular glasses because you had to somehow put them over them. So it was quite messy, and
it's messy.
It didn't pay off. And this particular customer, he left this idea again.
Yeah, so what seems to be a revolution somehow turns out to a disaster for the operator.
Yeah, I wouldn't totally put them off, but I think there's still some improvements to be done to the devices, to the glasses to really suit the needs of humans. But how about the wearables, the wrist-based wearables, Olli?
They are pretty common and widely used because I think here technology is just gone further.
Yeah.
They are light, easy to handle with your fingertip even. You can use them to scan barcodes, for example. There are these smart gloves is a very famous example, which really help the worker because he or she, they don't have to carry any scanner or heavy device with them or go back and forth to check the barcodes. But it's everything possible at your fingertip, as they say.
Yeah, that sounds great, and I can confirm also seeing these being used in logistics operation already a lot. Okay, maybe let's leave the classic hardware technologies which we talked about, and let's move a bit towards software. One of the big technologies I see as a game changer are interlogistics operation systems. And these are solutions or software solutions, I should say, that orchestrate both mixed robot fleets or AMR, AGV fleets, and also manual vehicles. So they basically make sure that these fleets operate next to each other, that traffic management is nice and smooth, and that manual vehicles are warned, for example, when there is a mobile robot, turning or coming around the corner to prevent damages and accidents simply. So something that will become very, very important as we see mobile robot fleets being scaled in a lot of facilities. but still with manual vehicles be needed for certain tasks.
Exactly. You always automate step by step. Yeah, you start first with some easy use cases, then you learn, you go on and on. But what happens in this transition phase, which will be very long, you will have more and more automated transports, but you will still have humans working together in a collaborative mode alongside these robots. Anyway, there must be a software to manage all that.
Exactly. And this is exactly why I think that this system will be very important in the future and will really, it will move away from just individual use cases that we're going to automate. It's going to basically glue them together into just a chain of different activities that are connected and which are orchestrated in the best possible way to gain the efficiency that you want to see.
Yeah, also to have backup scenarios ready. Yeah, if the automation doesn't work for some reason, this system could automatically transfer an order for transportation from an AGV to a human worker.
Exactly. Yeah, very important, and also going to be a major topic of our podcast in the next episode.
Of course.
So stay tuned, and definitely very, very important. Okay, maybe last but not least, I would say analytics tools, quite important for the future of intralogistics, using algorithms, machine learning, AI, simply to help operators to control and analyze performance. And then based on the data that these tools collect, to maybe even take it a step further and make predictions, identify trends, and help with decision making. Yeah,
all right.
Coming to an end, I would say.
We have our summary.
Time for the summary.
End. Yeah,
exactly.
I really like that part. We talked about today different automation technologies, and we started with automated guided vehicles and autonomous mobile robots.
Correct. Then we moved on to discuss cobots.
Yeah, then we also had a look on different devices using optical recognition.
And we continued with automated storage and retrievals system.
And wearables, of course.
Definitely also wearables. And we then moved into the software part where we discussed intralogistics operation systems. And we finished it off with analytics tools.
Cool. I hope this overview was valuable for you, and we are interested. As I said initially, what do you think? What are these the right technologies for the future? Are we ready to reshape intralogistics with them, or is there more to come?
Yeah, let us know if you have one of these already in operation and how they work and how you like them, so to say. And otherwise, thanks a lot for joining. Hear you next Monday for the next episode. And take care. Goodbye, and hear you soon.
Yeah, hear you soon. Thank you.
This was another episode of the Automation Awakenings podcast. Visit us at automation-awakenings.com.